This demonstration is a continuation of the last demonstration in which we created a basic layout of our first website. So let's open up that site that we just created by clicking on the Site menu, click Open Site, and if it's not showing up in this list here, we're going to have to browse by clicking the Browse button to find where you saved your site to. So it may be on your student drive. So let's open up the site we just created, and we click on the index.html and we have our basic layout here. So to actually start putting content on this website, you would fill in each one of these 4 different areas here. So for example, the header may have the title of your computer store, so we'll just call it My Computer Store, and we can format that text just like you would in a normal What You See Is What You Get editor. So we can highlight that, change the size of the font to large, small. We can change it to bold, italic, change the color of it, all sorts of different formatting options you can play around with. We can also insert a picture by going to the Insert Picture button. So there's this Insert Picture from File, and it's going to ask us where the picture is. So you have to have the picture saved on your computer somewhere. So in my case, I've put a picture of a Microsoft Vista logo on my desktop. So we're going to open that up, and it's going to come up with this dialog box, and it's going to ask for alternate text. So this is where you can put in a textual description of what that picture is. So we're going to call it My Logo, and if you don't want these messages coming up again, we can just uncheck this box here and we'll hit OK. So this image is fairly large, so we're going to want to resize it. So by clicking on the image, you'll see that we have these different handles here where we can resize the size of the image to make it smaller. So let's make that smaller so it fits in our header nicer. Okay, so that's a sample header that you may put. Very simple. You can spend some more time making yours look a little bit better than mine here. So the navigation area here of the layout is where you'd put something like buttons that you can click on that would link to other areas of your website. So we could use plain text if we want, but to get some extra points on your project, you may want to use some buttons. So let's erase this text, and you can actually, under the Insert menu, we have Interactive Button that we can actually insert. It'll do it for us. So we have a lot of different options here, different colors, different styles. We'll just select the basic one here. Down here it's going to ask you for what text you want to put in the button. So we may have a page called Home, which would bring you back to the main home page. Under the Font tab, we can change the different type of formatting attributes for the font, the size of it, the color, for example. And under Image, we can actually change the button images themselves. So say we want to change the width of the button a little bit bigger to say 150, and we hit OK. We might have another area of our web page called the Products area, where we can actually put pictures of our products and maybe some prices. So we'll put another button in here, and we'll call this one Products, and we'll change the size of the image to 150 like we did the first one to make it consistent. And perhaps we'll insert another button, and we'll call that Contact Us, where people can contact you. And we'll do the same thing. We'll just make that the same size and hit OK. Down here in the footer, that's where you can put things like trademarks or copyrights or maybe some contact details, perhaps the address of your business. We'll just leave this the way it is right now. So we've created this layout. So what we want to do is we want to create 2 more pages, one called the Products page and one called the Contact Us page, so that when we click on these buttons, we have somewhere to go. So we'll save this page, and you'll notice that when you save a page after you've put pictures on it, it's going to ask you to embed those files to the website, and you can hit OK. And what that's going to do is when you upload your web site, it's going to actually upload the pictures as well to the web server. If you don't hit OK and you don't include those, then no pictures are actually going to be uploaded, and you're not going to see them. So let's go back to the site view, and because we've created this nice layout on index.html, we can actually clone that page by doing the New from Existing page after right-clicking on the index.html, And let's hit save. And now we can name it the products, and it'll save it as a products.html file. And we can do it again. Hit save, and we'll call that the About Us. So now we have 3 different web pages, all with the same layout, so we don't have to recreate the header and the navigation bar. That's going to save you some time if you do it this way. But we are going to have to do is we're going to have to add links to each one of these buttons, so that when you click on the home button, it's going to go back to the index.html file, or if you click on the products, it's going to go to the products.html file. So if we go to the index.html file, double click on the button, it's going to come up with this dialog box again. If you ever had to change something with the button, you can do it here. But down here it has this link option where we can hit browse, and we can tell it where it wants to link to. So when we click the home button, we want it to open up the index.html file. Hit OK. With the products, we want that to open up the products page. And the contact us, we want that to open up the contact us, or I think I named it the wrong thing, but I called it About Us. Let's just link to that one. Okay, so you would have to do that for this one and the About Us page as well. You're going to have to update all those buttons because you've only updated on this one. So I'm not going to do that. I'll let you guys do that. So we're going to save this page. And again, we're going to get that question about the pictures. Just hit OK. And now you can go through each page and put the content into each page relevant. So on the home page here, we may have some pictures of our store, for example. On the products page, we would put inside this content area our product list, some of the prices, some pictures. On our contact us page, which I accidentally renamed About Us, we can put something like a form where people can actually submit a question through the website, and presumably it might be emailed to us so we can get back to someone. So to put some form elements in, and for your project you're asked to do this, you don't have to have a form that actually works, but you do have to put some form elements in. So to get those showing up, we go to the panels and we go to the toolbox, and now this toolbox panel shows up. And what we can do is we can put in under form controls. There's all sorts of different forms that you can play with. One of the main ones is just an input box. It's called a text box. If we drag that over onto the screen, it's going to put a text box here. So we might put something like your name, and maybe your email address, and then we'll put in another text box and maybe a your question. And this one here, there's one called a text area, which is bigger than a normal text box. And underneath that, we would put something like a button. This is a different type of button. This is what's called a form button. It's not one of the buttons over here that we created earlier. It's one that you can actually press down and submit something with. And if we double click on it, we can actually change the text on that button to say something like submit. So let's close that panel. And it looks like we just have a little bit of formatting to do here. Let's just put those on separate lines. And there you have it. There's an example of a contact us page where someone can fill in their name, their email address, their question, hit submit. Normally that would get emailed to someone. You don't have to worry about that part of it. That's outside the scope of this project. So the next demonstration will cover how we can actually take the completed web page that we've made right now and actually publish that onto a server so we can actually view it from a normal web browser like Internet Explorer.